Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about the UPSC Prelims question paper of year 2015, and we are going to discuss in details about the geography questions that were asked in that particular year, what was the correct option, correct answer, and the explanation behind it. So first question is related to the field of climatology, where it has been asked that in the South Atlantic and the southeastern Pacific regions in the tropical latitude, cyclones do not originate. What is the reason? So obviously it is talking about tropical cyclone because it is the tropical latitudes clearly given in the question. So what are the reasons why tropical cyclone do not originate in the South Atlantic and southeastern Pacific region? So if you take a look at this world map, we can see this orange areas on this map are the area where the cyclone generation happens mostly. So clearly we can see that in the South Atlantic Ocean as well as in the southeastern Pacific region, we can see there is no development of the cyclone. So these areas basically are devoid of cyclone. So four options are given. First is the sea surface temperatures are low. Second is the intertropical convergence zone seldom occurs. C is Coriolis force is too weak, and D is the absence of land in those regions. So correct option obviously is A. It is because of the lower sea surface temperature. And why these areas has low sea surface temperature? It has to do something with the presence of the cold current in these areas, and the presence of this cold current reduces the temperature of these regions, and that causes less sea surface temperature, because at least you require 26 degrees Celsius, 27 degrees Celsius and higher sea surface temperature for the cyclones to develop and originate. ITCZ does not have to do anything with the cyclone development, so B is incorrect. Coriolis force is not too weak. Coriolis force is only too weak near the equatorial region between 5 degrees north to 5 degrees south. Beyond 5 degrees, 8 degrees, obviously the Coriolis force becomes stronger enough. And the absence of land in those regions also, that is not a logical answer, because if the land is present, the land actually causes the dissipation of cyclones, and the absence of land should promote the development of cyclone, not we can say cause absence of the cyclone or non-development of cyclone. So from that logic, the correct answer is A. Second question is very simple question from the Indian geography. It has been asked that which of these are the easternmost and westernmost state of India. So if you have a good understanding and memory of the map of India, we can clearly see this on the map of India. In the westernmost point, it is the Gujarat that extends here. You can see this is the region, that is the Kutch region, and extending all the way up to here below south we have the Kathiawar Peninsula, and here we have the Run of Kutch and the Gulf of Kutch, and we have Gulf of Khambat here. So we are having a boundary here in this region along with Pakistan, and this is the westernmost region. As far as the easternmost state is concerned, you can clearly see from the map here, it is the Arunachal Pradesh that makes up the easternmost state of India, and thus the correct option will be D, Arunachal Pradesh and Gujarat. The third question again is related to oceanography, where it has been asked that what explains the eastward flow of the equatorial countercurrent. So first of all, what is equatorial countercurrent? If you try to look at this particular diagram here, we can see generally if you talk about, this is the Pacific Ocean. So in the Pacific Ocean, general circulation of the ocean current happens in the manner which is shown by the red arrow here. And in the South Pacific Ocean, it happens in the anti-clockwise direction, which is also represented by the red arrows. So this is what we call as North Pacific gyre, and then we have the South Pacific gyre. Similar kind of circulation also we observe in the case of Atlantic Ocean as well. So the question is asking the equatorial countercurrent. So as we can see from this particular diagram, the equatorial countercurrent is actually moving against the flow of the north equatorial and the south equatorial current. And the reason why this current develops, why this current flows in the eastward direction, is because of the convergence of two equatorial currents. So basically what happens, under the influence of the trade winds, northeasterly trade winds and southeasterly trade winds, generally the ocean water, the sea surface water that we call as ocean current, move from east to west. But when they are moving to the west, a huge volume water gets piled up in this particular region. And as this huge volume water gets piled up here, the water level becomes slightly elevated in this area. Here water level becomes slightly lower, because obviously the water is being pushed away from this region, and thus due to this kind of pressure gradient start to develop that causes the eastward flow of the equatorial countercurrent. So the earth rotation has nothing to do with it. Salinity also does not have any role to play here. The belt of calm also does not cause any kind of circulation, because belt of calm refers to a situation where there is no movement of wind. So if the wind is not moving, obviously it will not cause movement of the water. Thus, equatorial countercurrent generates mainly because of the convergence of the two equatorial currents from northern and the southern part of the ocean, whether it is in the Atlantic or in the Pacific Ocean. The fourth question again is related to the mapping of India, where three places of pilgrimage and related to and in which particular hills these pilgrim places are located has been asked. So first is Sri Salam, which is a very well-known Jyotirlings out of the 12 Jyotirlings of India. The Sri Salam in Nallamalla Hill, this is absolutely correct. This is situated in the Andhra Pradesh, in the Nallamalla Hills of the Andhra Pradesh region in the Eastern Ghat. Second is Omkareshwar in Satmala Hills. That is incorrect statement, because Omkareshwar again is a very well-known Jyotirling which is situated in the state of Madhya Pradesh. And in the Madhya Pradesh, we know that it is not the Satmala Hills, it is the Satpura Hills or Satpura Hill ranges, and it is situated here. Third is Pushkar. Pushkar, as you know, is the only temple in India where the temple of Lord Brahma is situated, and Pushkar is a very well-known tourist destination also, where people from all across India as well as even from outside India throng every year. So Pushkar is not situated in Mahadev Hills, because Mahadev Hills, we know that it is situated in Madhya Pradesh. Pushkar is a place of pilgrimage in the state of Rajasthan, and it is situated in the Aravalli range or the Aravalli Hills. So the correct option will be, in this particular case, the first and the third what we can say match the following is correct. So the C will be the correct, A will be the correct answer here, because third statement is incorrect. It is situated in Aravalli Hills, not Mahadev Hills. So only option is A. The fifth question, again, a very what we can say is expected question that UPSC asks almost every year, that is the tributaries of the major important rivers of India. So which of the following rivers are tributaries of Godavari River, which is the longest river of peninsular India? So four options are given: Vamsadhara, Indravati, Pranhita, and Penna. So if you take a look at the Godavari River, we can see that Indravati is obviously a tributary of Godavari River. Indravati originates from the eastern Ghats, and then we can see it meets Godavari somewhere around here. Second we have is Pranhita. Pranhita actually is also a tributary of Godavari, because what happens, we have three rivers: Penganga River, Vardha River, and Venganga River. And then these three rivers join together to form what we call as the Pranhita River, and then finally it is the Pranhita River that goes and meets the river Godavari. So Pranhita also is a tributary of river Godavari. Now if we talk about river Pennar, Pennar is a river that is separately flowing in the Andhra Pradesh, originating from the Nandi Hills of Karnataka. It does not meet Godavari anywhere. And similarly, Vamsadhara also is an important east flowing rivers in the eastern Ghats of Odisha, and it does not meet Godavari anywhere. So that is why the correct option here is D. Only second and third are the correct tributaries or actual tributaries of river Godavari. So similar kind of questions asked every year almost, where the major peninsular rivers or the Himalayan rivers, their tributaries, their place of origin, the glaciers from which they are originating, or the major important places that are situated on the back of such rivers are asked. So these river based questions are very easy to do, given that you have properly revised everything related to that. The sixth question again is related to the minerals, where it has been asked that as far as the steel production in India is concerned, what India actually requires for the import. So we have saltpeter, rock phosphate, coking coal, and D. So correct answer actually is coking coal. India is dependent on the import of coking coal, which is largely imported from Australia and Indonesia to be used in the steel industry. Saltpeter actually is a common name of potassium nitrate. It is not used at all in the production of steel, rather than used for the production of fertilizer, rocket propellants, and fireworks, etc. Second is, it is one of the major constituents of gunpowder and has been used since the Middle Ages as a food preservative. So India definitely imports coking coal, and actually coking coal is a very important requirement for the production of steel, because 0.8 tons of coking coal is required for production of every 1 ton of steel. So that is the correct answer. Seventh question is related again to the atmospheric pressure belt, where two statements are given. The first is the winds which blow between 30° north and 60° south latitude throughout the year are known as westerlies. Now here, if you look at clearly, this here on this side is 30 degree north and this side we have 60 degrees south. So many times student can commit this mistake because actually the westerlies wind blow between 30 degree north to 60 degree north and 30 degrees south to 60 degrees south. But if we take into consideration the entire area from 30 degree north to 60 degrees south, we can see we have a lot of winds. Westerlies are there, we have easterly trade winds are there, south easterly trade winds are there, and then westerlies winds are there. So it is not the westerlies wind, but rather we have several different winds that blows in this particular latitude. So obviously the first statement will be incorrect. Second is the moist air masses that cause winter rains in the northwestern regions of India are part of westerlies. That is absolutely correct statement. Because if you look at the northwestern regions of India like Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, even all the way to Himalayas in Jammu and Kashmir, what happens in the winter time? We have the movement of the subtropical westerly jet stream, and the subtropical westerly jet streams bring huge amount of moisture, water vapor and clouds when it passes over the Mediterranean Sea. And then these clouds and water vapor then causes rainfall in the winter time in the northwestern region. So correct option is B. And this winter rain also is very crucial because it helps in the sowing of rabi crops in India such as wheat and gram. Eighth question is related to again a region of India where a statement is given that in this particular region of India, local people train the roots of living trees into robust bridges across the streams. As the time passes, these bridges become stronger. These unique living root bridges, as they are popularly called as, are found in which of the states? Meghalaya, Himachal Pradesh, Jharkhand and Tamil Nadu. So obviously again it is a factual question, and these kind of root bridges are found in Meghalaya. If you look at this picture here, you can clearly see from the trees we have the roots that is coming out, and then these roots are then taken all the way across the stream, and then gradually they start to develop strongly on this area. And as the time passes, the strength, the density of these roots keep on growing, and after some time it can act as a bridge and people can use it to cross from one side of the stream to the other side of the stream. So that is why A, Meghalaya is the correct answer, and it is one of the most famous tourist places in Meghalaya. A lot of people who go to Meghalaya do not fail to witness this kind of development of this living root bridges, which is very unique phenomenon in itself. Ninth question is related to the ocean tides, where it has been asked that tides occur in the oceans and seas due to which of the following forces? Gravitational force of sun, gravitational force of moon, or the centrifugal force of the earth. So correct answer is D. All the three forces actually are responsible for the tidal phenomena, because when moon is supposed at this point, so moon also has a gravitational force, and due to the gravitational force of moon, obviously it pulls the seawater toward itself. But as the moon pulls the seawater toward itself, and also as the earth is rotating on its axis, it applies centrifugal force away from its axis, and thus we can also see a bulge, a tidal bulge that is developing on the opposite side of the location of moon. So at the same point of time, at two places on the earth, we experience high tide which are diametrically opposite to each other. One due to the gravitational force of the moon and other due to the centrifugal force of the earth. On the other hand, depending on where sun is situated, sun also has a strong gravitational pull, and it also changes the it also causes the movement of the water, movement of the ocean water away from the surface, and thus causes the tidal phenomenon. So D, 1, 2 and 3 is the correct statement here. However, we have to remember that since moon is much more closer to the earth, the gravitational force of moon plays a more strong role or more important role in causing tide as compared to sun. 11th question is again related to the natural vegetation, where it has been asked that in the given three states, that is of Arunachal Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh and Mizoram, which of the states you will find tropical wet evergreen forest. So obviously the tropical wet evergreen forests are such forests which develop in the areas where temperature is in the range of 25 degrees Celsius and rainfall is generally greater than 250 centimeters on an average annual basis. So out of these three states, we can clearly say that Himachal Pradesh, since it is lying in the Himalayan zone, it is lying in the colder region, temperate zones, it does not receive so much heavy amount of rainfall, and temperature is also relatively much more colder in this region. On the other hand, if you take a look at the Arunachal Pradesh and Mizoram, their latitudinal extent allows them to have very heavy rainfall because of the Brahmaputra Valley branch of monsoon, and also temperature remains in the desired range. So the correct option will be C. Only in Arunachal Pradesh and Mizoram you can find the tropical wet evergreen forest. The 12th question is related to the world mapping, where it has been asked again, as we have discussed many times in the previous question discussion, and the videos, that Mediterranean Sea region is one of the favorite region of UPSC, from which they generally ask question every now and then. So this area, all the countries, all the important physical features, you should have a clear understanding of. So the question is that which one of the following countries of Southwest Asia does not open out to the Mediterranean Sea? So let us take a look at the map of Mediterranean Sea. This is the Mediterranean Sea, and as you can see in the Southwest Asia, Turkey, Syria, Lebanon, Israel, and Egypt. These are the countries that are clearly bordering with the Mediterranean Sea. So Syria, Lebanon, and Israel, these are obviously bordering the Mediterranean Sea. However, if you take a look at the Jordan, actually it is not clearly mentioned here, but if I try to draw the map, this is the Jordan. So Jordan is landlocked. It does not have any border with the Mediterranean Sea, because Jordan has a border with Israel, and this is where you have the Dead Sea area. So the correct answer will be B, Jordan, that does not have border, does not open out to the Mediterranean Sea. The 13th question again is related to the natural vegetation, where it has been asked that in which of the given forest you will find the teak trees, which is teak actually is a dominant tree species in which of the following types of vegetation, which of the following types of forest. So teak, as you know, it is a natural, it is a forest. It is a tree that grows in area where we are having somewhere between 100 to 130 centimeters of average annual rainfall and 27 degrees Celsius and higher temperature. So this is most important tree of tropical moist deciduous forest, and also slightly in the sparse density, it is also found in the tropical dry deciduous forest. And if you look at the map of the South Asia, this entire shaded region is the region where you will see the development and growth of the teak trees, teak plantation, which is a very, very important tree from the timber cultivation industry or timber cultivation purposes. The last question is related to climatic regions of the world, where the statement is given that each day is more or less the same. That means in terms of temperature, it is talking that there is not so much variation. There is no such change in the seasons from one day to the day. The morning is clear and bright with sea breeze. As the sun climbs high in the sky, heat mounts up, dark clouds form, then rain comes with thunder and lightning, but the rain is soon over. Which of the following reasons is described in the above passage? So the correct answer is this passage basically describes the equatorial region, because as you know, equatorial region receives equal amount of sunlight almost all through the year, and thus it does not have any change in the season. All the year it only have single season, that is the summer season. And as the sun rises up in the sky, all the water vapor evaporates. That further leads to condensation. You have heavy rainfall, and then you have 2 to 3 hours of heavy rainfall. And once the rainfall happens, which is a convectional kind of rainfall, what happens? The ground surface becomes cooler. And as the ground surface becomes cooler, the warm air does not rise anymore, and as the warm air does not rise anymore, there is no more evaporation, there is no more condensation, cloud formation, and rainfall. Thus, after 2 to 3 hours, you have rainfall that completely stops over. So this is the characteristic of the equatorial climatic region. This is how the equatorial climate look like. We have a less green forest of tropical wet evergreen forest, equatorial evergreen forest, equatorial rainforest, and then you have the daily rainfall, and you have dense vegetation covering all the surface of the forest. You have climbers, you have creepers, you have a lot of epiphytic vegetation in this particular area. So these were the major questions that were asked from geography in this particular area. I hope you understood about the logic, what kind of questions has been asked, what is the correct answer, the concept behind these. So if you like the video, please hit the like button, share it with your aspirants, as well as subscribe to our channel for more content. Thank you very much.